Elise also open so far to either first pick that or give that to Supa Hot Crew or take the AD carry.
That's going to be an interesting first choice. It depends obviously still what the Supa Hot Crew ban. They may just ban Elise out themselves if they're just not comfortable with giving that, or possibly even giving that up to the Copenhagen Wolves. And we can see there's quite a lot of discussion going on from this one. They know that as they run down the clock, they'll have to decide, and actually they're going to go for Kale, which does leave the Elise open, and the Copenhagen Wolves take that straight off.
They really want this one for Amazing. He's more or less the playmaker on Copenhagen Wolves, and in every single early game he's very dominant. So for him, getting, in my opinion, the #1 jungle pick all around is very, very good for him, and that's something Copenhagen Wolves will be happy about. If they can manage to now get in Lucian, unless Supa Hot Crew locks it away this time, they will be very happy with the start of this pick and ban phase. Fresh is been taken away. That was migxa's go-to support. He's been playing Leona, but he's also been playing everything else. Like he's been playing the Nuno support. He's been playing Nami support. So he's having. He also played Sonar. So he's having a lot of different choices to go for. It will be a bit funny to see how Supa Hot Crew rates this though.
Well, let's see. And talking of Amazing getting Elise, he played it in the opening game of the season against Lions. 4-0-9, great performance on that one. Also played it against Fnatic, but didn't quite have the success from that one. But you saw, as Elise was picked, 83% win ratio right now for Elise so far here in the European LCS. Big winner up till now. There is a Gragas locked in as first pick from the Supa Hot Crew, along with the Lucian.
So they take the Lucian, now forcing Forgiven onto something completely different than he's been playing in the past. The Gragas, Moopz is known as pretty much a Gragas only player in some way. He's been playing Kale, but not with the same success. Gragas for him has always been like the main pick. So getting this for him now, it also shows to me that Supa Hot Crew, they have counter picks ready for the other positions, because that's why they want to take this very safe mid laner who can both farm, roam around, and pretty much do everything you need from mid laner. And Moopz loves to play it, so it's a good pick. And also to get the Lucian for MrRalleZ.
Where does that leave cowTard, the man on your screen right there? Currently they're hovering over an Ezreal pickup for Forgiven here in the AD carry role. Renekton, of course, still open here for YoungBuck. We know that both of these players in the top lane like a bit of Renekton. It will be locked in though for YoungBuck, and Ziggs for cowTard, a champion which he's brought to the table with pretty decent success actually overall.
Yeah, again, Ziggs, much like Gragas, is just a very safe pick who can always do well in the lane. Ziggs will have this slight advantage versus Gragas early game until you get their fiends and you get some ranks in your queue, so you can start clearing the wave yourself. So Ziggs is a good pick, a lot of pressure. You can also apply with, some pressure to the side lanes with your ultimate. Renekton, all in all three picks from Copenhagen Wolves, they're just so standard, they're so safe, they're not showing anything other than saying, you know what, we want to have decent wave clear, we want to have decent early game, and we want to have decent late game. And they have all three things in these three champions.
And these statistics there, really following the trend that the Copenhagen Wolves have with Ziggs. They've won one game, lost one game with Ziggs on cowTard, and overall in the LCS, 50% win rate for Ziggs as well. So for the Supa Hot Crew now, they're going to lock in, by the looks of it, a support and Shyvana here, which, you know, I say and Shyvana because is that going to go in the jungle with Impaler, or will they give it to Mimer in the top lane?
I really hope it's gonna go for Mimer in the top lane, because Shyvana jungle, whenever Impaler's been playing it, is having more or less zero impact. He's not able to do any early ganks, and he's just farming up for the team fights, and that's not the the main part of Supa Hot Crew's tactic. They wanna win this early game and then snowball it from there. So I really hope Mimer will take this one, and obviously he's confident he can go fairly even with Renekton, or maybe outduel him. The thing is though, Shyvana was nerfed. Renekton will beat her early game if it comes down to, like, if you look at the big picture. So Mimer, he needs to pull something special up. YoungBuck, he's been underperforming a little bit, and this might actually show to us that Supa Hot Crew don't really respect or fear him that much.
On the other side then for the Copenhagen Wolves, Ezreal's already been locked in for Forgiven. Actually, not quite. Oh, he has been locked in. My eye's playing tricks on me. And the Karma support, something that they've been liking to run against an Annie.
They're pretty much picking Karma into Annie every single time. According to Unlimited, it's a counter pick due to his poke in the lane. He can, force Annie away, and also due to his shields. When Annie actually engages at level 6, he can shield up whoever is nearby and make sure they can survive the burst. So all in all, he loves this pick, and with Ezreal, they have very good poke lane, they have a very safe lane. Even if they should be shot down, Ezreal can always farm from distance. So all in all, Copenhagen Wolves have to be happy with this champ select. They have pretty much everything they need, except for maybe lacking a little bit late game damage. Ezreal, he doesn't scale too well into the really late game point, and at the same time, Renekton also falls off.
So we're looking for either jungler or top lane here, and if it were to be this Wukong, then we can say that it will be that Shyvana for Mimer in the top lane. Impaler will get his hands on Wukong for this one.
And that's a good pickup again. He can be aggressive. He can put the pressure on the map with this Wukong. He has some good ganks. Even before level 6, he's fairly decent due to having a lot of damage. And once he hit the level 6 mark, we saw Sanad in the last game with the counter ganks, coming in, popping the ultimate. And that's a lot of damage and also a lot of CC. That's very hard to deal with. So all in all, both teams have great combos. They both have wave clear. They have decent scaling into at least the start of the late game. Again, I feel Supa Hot Crew will outscale Copenhagen Wolves just a little bit. So it's going to be pretty much impossible to predict who's actually going to take this one, because both combos are very good and very even.
And I think a lot's going to depend on the junglers coming into this one as well. We know them both as, I think it's safe to say, hit and miss so far on certain champions that they've gone for.
Yeah, it definitely been hit and miss, but we got the Elise on Amazing. He loves to play it, and he knows how to play this. Also, Impaler with the Wukong, he loves to do the engages. He's the shot caller when it comes to starting team fights, so for him having something he can actually go in on, then follow up by Mimer, who can jump in with his Shyvana. All in all, it's looking pretty good again, as I said, for both teams.
Well, with the match about to get underway, let's check out the votes to see who you guys picked to win. And it looks like 60% of you have gone with the Copenhagen Wolves from this one. Interesting statistic from my point of view here, you know, 60 to 40. Supa Hot Crew smashed Gambit last week and smashed them, they really did. The fastest game that we've seen so far in the European LCS. The Wolves are coming off of the back of a win as well, though, against SK.
They are, and for me this game is completely 50-50. There's no 60-40 here, it's 50-50. It's going to rely, actually for Supa Hot Crew's side, quite a lot on Mimer. If he can manage to win the early game on Shyvana and really become this split pushing threat, I actually see Supa Hot Crew taking the game. If not though, it's going to be so dead even.
Well, here we go then, into game. It's the Copenhagen Wolves taking on the Supa Hot Crew. As we said, these two teams are tied in the table. Whoever wins this one is going to get a bit of a lead on the other one, albeit just a little one, because everything's so tight right now in the standings here in the European LCS. And are we going to see anything funky here? I want to touch on the lanes here there, because you know, Ezreal Karma is not a lane that we're really used to seeing. Up against Lucian Annie, will they be happy with going 2v2 in that lane?
Basically for both of them, poking-wise, Copenhagen Wolves have the advantage, especially due to Karma doing more poke than Annie. But in the all-in scenario, Supa Hot Crew have the stronger lane. At level 6, if they can manage to land the tippers and then go full-on burst mode with MrRalleZ and Lucian, they might be able to take a kill. But Karma is very hard to kill in the lane, she has the shield, and Ezreal, he's just so safe.
YoungBuck and Mimer here on the top side of the map. We'll see if they butt heads at the very early stage of this one. We can see that Amazing just a little bit south in the river. And it's just a very standard opening up until this point. We can see trinkets-wise, everyone going in for the warding totem, so no early clearing available for either side.
No, when both teams have spotted out each other, they know now both top laners are obviously in the top lane. No lane swap as it seems like right now, and we have no invades. Trinkets are going to be ready now in just a matter of seconds, and they can put them down, get the vision they need, and just move to the lanes.
And migxa actually spotting that first ward that came down, so they know that cowTard has a bit of vision on the bottom side of that river there. We can see that YoungBuck going to help Amazing kick things off here on the blue buff, and the same will happen for the top laner of the Supa Hot Crew, Mimer helping out there.
Notice what the Copenhagen Wolves bot lane is doing here. They're doing it pretty much every single game. They come down the lane and just instantly they move forward and they want to harass Supa Hot Crew before the minions even spawn. This is how they do, and they get this early push going. They pull the minions together as well, so they will focus the same target, or at least they're trying to. This time it actually failed for them, but they did get the early minion kill, so they're going to be ahead in XP, and they want to get early level 2.
And Unlimited has played so aggressive with this Karma support in the past, trying to zone the Annie and Thresh that he's played against so far with this Karma support completely out. We can see the damage that he manages to put down. Very, very strong poke. Dangerously strong maybe in these early stages for the Copenhagen Wolves. Yeah,
Karma is really, really strong when it comes to the lane. The issue is the fact that at level 6, she doesn't get like an additional spell like the other supports do. So she's more or less going to stay the same, focusing, poking and shielding, and then she can also speed up the entire team if they want to disengage later.
And we saw the level 2 being hit actually for the bottom lane of the Copenhagen Wolves. Meanwhile, Impaler is doing his blue buff at this point. Amazing, already done his blue. He'll just smite out that red buff and get himself underway as Moopz taking a big hit there from cowTard. in the mid lane.
Yeah, just as we talked about in Champ Select, 6 has the advantage in the very early game because Gragas can't wave clear with his barrel yet, so he's forced to actually go in and try and last hit it by auto-attacking, and that's where 6 can throw the bombs onto him and, you know, get him low.
Harassment pure there from cowTard in the mid, and he's double the CS up, obviously. Early stages to talk about that, but right now, double the CS of that of Moopz. Meanwhile, YoungBuck, exactly as we expected as well in that top lane, using that Renekton early bully to force the wave on towards Mimer. So it needs to be careful how many hits he takes there, though.
Yeah, he actually just got 2 tower hits here. It can give some edge to Mimer, at least try and make him come back in the lane here. So he's gonna try and get every CS he can, and once he can go back and get some items on Shyvana, he will start becoming stronger and stronger.
So migxa there just actually throwing out his combo as much as possible on towards Unlimited to force him back and stop the aggression that they're putting down. Some very early aggression in that bottom lane between the two of them, as we've come to expect from the Copenhagen Wolves as bottom lane, but that's also cost them a couple of times. I say a couple of times, maybe we could say half the times, because they've given up first blood down there in 5 out of 10 games.
Yeah, I think half the time is pretty spot on, and it shows the way they're playing. They want to be up in the face of the enemy from level 1, and it often means the enemy jungler comes down. You can see amazing though in the top lane, Mimer is fairly safe, he's very close to his turret. Impaler just recalled though, so he won't be able to help.
I don't know if Impaler actually saw him going in from that one. Actually, YoungBuck going to go forward. Mimer just going to run with his burnout on back towards his turret, and that means that they can't get in there. Was actually behind a wave of minions as well, which means the cocoon was never going to land. And a little bit of an attempt there from Amazing to get things rolling for YoungBuck in the top side, but Mimer playing it safe, all good for him. Mid lane, cowTard continues to put the pressure on towards Moopz.
And he will keep doing this as long as he can. Once Moopz hits the level 6 mark, he can try and set up a gank with Impaler coming in, throw the barrel or throw the ultimate down, shoot him backwards, and then Impaler jumps on him. He's actually getting quite some good poke on cowTard, and he's falling very low in mana, so he has to recall soon.
Well, on mana, both of them starting out with those Doran rings. Again, YoungBuck in the top lane. He's done that a couple of times now, just gone a little step too far towards the enemy turret and taken the hits from that one, but nothing that's really causing problems so far in that top lane. He continues to hold a CS lead, as does the bottom lane, as does the mid lane. It's looking good so far for the Copenhagen Wolves from the lane phase.
It's looking good, but also a bit expected from the picks that they will have the stronger very, very early. The mid game from Supa Hot Crew is very strong itself though, so I actually expect them to bounce back a little bit, start going fairly well in the lanes once they get a few levels, and then we will see the CS evening out, and it's going to be more about ganks or setting up the dragon or going for blue buff.
Where do you think the junglers are going to focus in this one? I mean, the bottom lane, for example, yes, they're pushed up heavily, but you've got the Arcane Shift on Ezreal, you've got Karma who can speed you up and slow the enemy push down. Where's the focus going to be from these two junglers?
Well, the first focus for Impaler is either going to be top lane or then hitting the level 6 mark, so you can actually really do some proper ganks. Right here, YoungBuck already spots him out. He's fairly low, but he's seen him, and he's just backing off wisely enough. So Impaler can get anything other than applying some pressure. Once he gets the level 6 mark though, he can actually gank whatever lane he chooses to. I would like to see him go mid or go top, and then either shut down the Renekton who's constantly pushing up. He's actually going in for him here.
Yeah, YoungBuck actually went back up the lane from this one. He's going to pop his dominance. Will he be able to escape? There is the slice out of it, and yes, he will be able to escape, is the answer to that one. So, you know, nice little try for him. YoungBuck obviously feeling very confident, though, in this top lane.
And that's the thing with Wukong before the level 6 mark. You don't have any CC. Shyvana doesn't bring any CC either. So you're more or less just going in, hitting him in the face, and he can back out from there. Moopz though, roaming bot lane here. Can they set something up?
Oh, migxa's actually gone really low. The Ignite is actually ticking away from Unlimited. He said he's not going to give him the first bloods. This time he picks the first blood up himself. MrRalleZ actually dodging out. Moopz is going to go on towards Unlimited. Good flash away. But look at this, Forgiven tanking up the turret. One more is going to take him down. Grave error there from Forgiven, thinking he could take on MrRalleZ, who both of them using barrier, both of them using flash. That leaves us at 1-1, and the Wolves are putting pressure onto mid.
They won't really be able to take it, especially because Impaler is here as well. He can defend with Moopz. Moopz has everything ready except for his Ignite, so maybe they want to try and fight for this one. Back to the bot lane though. Forgiven, he kind of said, I'm not going to survive this one, so I'm just going to try and go for a kill. It meant he had to use both his summoners and dying for it.
Impaler actually wasn't level 6 there either, so even though Moopz might have thought, okay, we could maybe go for this one, he didn't have that ultimate to get things started off. He's going to take down those minions and hope that he can hit that level 6 mark with them, but doesn't in the end. And the Wolves actually start an invade here on the red buff, but it's dangerous. We see Mimer coming down, mid laner and jungler are coming in there, but well, it's Elise with Smite available. It's not that hard to be taking things away.
No, and the reason they could do this is because Impaler isn't level 6. They knew there wasn't much fighting potential for Supa Hot Crew's side. Mimer is also fairly weak at this point, so if they had gone for it, Renekton was there and also cowTard was there, Copenhagen Wolves could have won the fight and also gotten the red buff.
Tense early game from this one. Looking again at the top lane as we see actually the Chain Vest coming in along with the Vampiric Scepter as well for Mimer. So protecting himself whilst having that sustain in there. Actually double Doran's Blade coming out for YoungBuck.
He's going with the more Freddy style of play, where he goes for double Dorans and then he goes full on winning the lane. Mimer picking up the early Chain Vest means that he can now survive some of the damage from YoungBuck and he can actually start trading back to the minions, and with the lifesteal he can sustain himself a little bit better.
So let's see why the next kills come in this one. A 10 start to it, a 2,000 gold leading Impaler coming in, but he's right on top of that ward. And both AD carries with those BF swords in there as well are going to be doing good damage if they can get things started off, and always going to be hard to lock down that Ezreal, that's for sure. Here is Amazing coming down. They actually have a pink ward there in the Tribush, and they know that Impaler is now backed away. This could be a great opportunity for them to get into it.
There is though a ward up here in the river, so it's going to be very hard for him to actually sneak in unless he's going to go all the way around through the bush down in the bottom lane and then try and set something up.
A little bit of a pause here. Apparently someone's having a little mouse issue from that one. It looks like it's actually Amazing, the jungler, who, you know, you don't want to have a mouse problem when you've just got down to the bottom lane into the Tribush because you've got a pink ward in there and the enemy jungler just walked off. So
and he's also the only hard CC, so he needs to land. Oh, well, there's the snare obviously from Karma, but he needs to land a cocoon to set something up. So if the mouse is fucking up, oh sorry, I just said the F-bomb.
You did, Deficio. You're allowed one, and then you get fired, so no more please from that one. But yeah, we've got guys on this one. Amazing, going to get his mouse taken away, replaced or fixed, whatever may be the case. But that gives us a little bit of time to look over where the game is right now. 1,500 gold is what we have for the Copenhagen Wolves. No turret's gone down just yet. Not really many kills coming in. We have, if we talk about the kills, 1-1 of course, 1 for Unlimited. So he stayed true to his promise. He's not going to give up First Blood. In fact, he's going to take First Blood just as a bit of sweet revenge. The other kill did go over to MrRalleZ though, with Forgiven getting a little bit too cocky maybe underneath that turret.
Yeah, he really felt that the only way for him to... Oh well, he actually felt he was pretty much dead. He could just try and pick up a kill for it in exchange. So he, again, in my opinion, I think it was a little bit too aggressive. Both summers blown, giving up the kill from MrRalleZ, so obviously it's easy for us now to say it was too aggressive.
Yeah.
But even at the time, I think he could have escaped. As well as very good at dodging the barrels and the ultimate from Gragas due to his Arcane Shift and Flash, so he could maybe have escaped with Unlimited.
So as we're hitting 10 minutes now, so I want to ask you again about the whole early to mid-game section that we're about to come into this one. Obviously, we've seen no attempt at the Dragon as of yet, but is that going to be the first place that we see a big fight in this one? Because it has been a fairly passive game. The mid laner's not really venturing too much out of the ordinary farm game.
But it's been a passive game because Copenhagen Wolves have the stronger lanes at this point, so they are fine with just farming away. And Impaler haven't been able to gank because he's just been hitting level 6. Now when he's level 6 and now the lanes from Supa Hot Crew have been getting some levels themselves, I actually see them trying to come back in the game. And yes, Dragon could potentially be the first big team fight, or we're going to see a gank being set up and then they rotate from there on into the Dragon.
Interesting as well here. We saw the Copenhagen Wolves letting that wave push out from the bottom lane. Hello guys. We will be going back into game here, I'm assuming, in just a couple of seconds. There we go. So that's all good. But this bottom lane up until now, they let it push right up to them. The jungler just sat outside in the Tribush. Obviously Amazing was on top of the ping wall. There was a ward over in the brush to the side in River, so it would have been spotted as he came out anyway.
And this time Impaler here, he's not spotted. He can actually go in for this. Oh, Tibbets!
Oh, Tibbets comes down, and there is the push straight in. Impaler not even having to use his ultimate from that one. And just as we're talking about Amazing, hanging around by that bottom lane, Impaler replying perfectly to come back in there and pick up the second kill of the game for the Supa Hot Crew.
And just as we talked about, gank coming in and then they rotate from there onto the Dragon. That's the beauty of ganking bot lane. If you can take down one of them, there's really no chance for Copenhagen Wolves to fight for this one. They have to try and steal with either cowTard or at least going in for smite steals, which is very risky.
I was kind of right, the next big fight for Dragon there. A little bit before that in the bottom lane. There is a defensive barrel actually coming out of Moopz. They stopped the Dragon being taken down. It's going to be picked up, but Impaler's going to die. MrRalleZ is going to die as well. That is 2 big kills coming in from the Wolves.
And just as we say, Copenhagen Wolves can't really fight for it, every single ultimate from them is hitting Impaler, so he dropped so low, it was such an easy kill, and MrRalleZ at the same time as well. He got hit by both the ultimate from Ezreal and also the 6 bomb, so he just died instantly, and Copenhagen Wolves took 2 kills for it.
Trying to actually put some pressure onto this bottom lane as well. Amazing. Did fall decently low in that one. And Annie, just recalling, leaves that bottom turret completely open. So we'll see exactly how much damage Forgiven and Unlimited could do. They did a lot earlier, don't forget, as they were pushed up on it the entire first 8 minutes of the game.
And notice how they're not actually hitting the turret. They wanted to kill as many minions as possible to deny them from MrRalleZ. So wisely enough, they're just waiting. And then in the end, they can just let the minions kill it or last hit it for the extra gold. And you know, smart play by Copenhagen Wolves. They completely punish Supa Hot Crew for going Dragon, and they punish Impaler for being hit by every single ultimate from Copenhagen Wolves.
Textbook stuff on that front, that's for sure. If you look at the items between the AD carries down bottom, pretty much a mirror image there, apart from the health and mana pot that we see with MrRalleZ. But for you, if we end up getting into a 2v2 here, who's the strongest between them? Now that Annie is level 6 and has Tibbers up there, do they have that edge?
That's the thing. If they can manage to kill them with the upfront burst they have with Tibbers and with Lucian, they will be the strongest. But if Copenhagen Wolves can escape this one and start poking them, they will actually win it in the end, just by extending the fight and constantly poking on to Supa Hot Crew. And Forgiven is doing a great job farming. He's beating him by 20 CS, and it all boils down to, first of all, the starting level 1 scenario where they pushed them to the turret and got them behind, and also the fact he come back to lane here when MrRalleZ was dead and pick some CS up.
Bit of a fight in the top lane, if we can really call it that, between YoungBuck and Mimer. They're just basically going to have a few hits on each other, trade a bit of damage, and in the end, both will just walk away. Mid lane, though, might not be the case. cowTard and Amazing again teaming up to put the damage in there. Impaler just decoyed in to see if he could get in range to maybe start things off. His ultimate was available, as was Moopz' explosive cast there as well. In the end, though, they didn't manage to get anything. Amazing goes back on his way. One thing I like from the Wolves, though, is that they do have these 2 wards down deep in the enemy red side of things. And let's not forget, Amazing stole away the red last time it spawned.
And right now, he's just going to wait for Impaler to run in if he was nearby for the red, and he would be able to more or less get him so low and force him away so he could take it. Impaler is completely all plans though than his red buff. He want to gank this bot lane once again. He want to get MrRalleZ going. He already got 2 kills. If he can get 1 more, he can actually start really being a threat.
There's a ward in that brush, but migxa has a flash and he's going to use it here. Tibbers comes down on towards Forgiven. Have they got the damage? They're calling the barrel. Moopz picks up the kill onto Forgiven. Max range there. Another solid rotation by the Supa Hot Crew. That's going to give them their first turret.
But it's going to cost them the mid turret because both cowTard and Amazing is there to push it. But Supa Hot Crew, they're investing everything into this bot lane. They want to make sure that MrRalleZ gets the kill and the farm he needs to be able to carry the team fights. And it's now, it cost them the mid turret. They did get a kill and the bot turret for this one, so it's worth it for Supa Hot Crew.
So Athene's Unholy Grail being picked up after that kill there by Moopz' Gragas as he gets himself back off into the lane. Always nice to have there. Obviously his opposing number does have Athene's Unholy Grail as well, and a blasty one actually we should say for Moopz. So he's going to be doing some decent damage now in that one. He is quite far behind on the CS. As we said though, early game he got harassed a lot. He's had a bit of time to roam down from that one. It's to be expected.
It is to be expected, but we also need to have Supa Hot Crew coming back now in the game. They need to come back to the lanes and actually start really picking up the farm they need, because they've gotten the levels, they've gotten the items. And meanwhile though, Amazing, he's just rotating around the map not to gank, but just to pick up turrets or at least some turret damage.
And doing a good job of it as well there. A lot of damage onto that top tower. Mimer was forced to back away, and between YoungBuck and him, they can take these minions out like nobody's business, and they should have this turret away on this wave. Mimer, as I said, can't come up, but Supa Hot Crew are actually moving into position. They just went over a pink ward, which will reveal their position, and actually I'm not sure that Moopz even noticed it.
No, but Supa Hot Crew, they feel the pain of playing against 6, who can just wave clear all the time. There were 4 people in mid lane, but there was no wave, so they couldn't move in for the turret, and instead they end up giving up the top turret without getting anything in exchange. So what it means for this game at least is the fact that with cowTard, if he can stay in this mid lane and just constantly wave clear, and the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves can do what they're doing now, move around on the other lanes and take up kills, towers and objectives, it's going to be an issue for Supa Hot Crew unless they dive cowTard.
Well, that may just happen here. We see the ultimate going across wanting to get a bit of long-range farm there, was forgiven. In the end, YoungBuck says, no, mate, you're just going low for me, made it just all that easier for me to finish them off. Thank you very much. He's got a Sunfire Cape now added in, as does Mimer on Shyvana, but he's also moving up to that Blade of the Ruin King at the same time.
He is, and once he finishes Blade of the Ruin King, he can really start dueling Renekton and actually win it. And then the whole split pushing scenario is going to start from Shyvana, where you basically have to draw people from Copenhagen Wolves up there, while the rest of Supa Hot Crew takes something else. But just as I talked about before, 6 will be an issue, because he can wave clear all the time. He can even stand in the mid lane, throw his ultimate bot, clear the wave there, and force Supa Hot Crew to do something else than having just Mimer split pushing.
And if we look there at his items, he's now got that needlessly large rod added in. Does cowTard, so he's going to be hitting all the more. Also got his blue buff in, as does Moopz, and they start to move up. That middle turret, of course, was taken down a little previously. We've got less than a quarter of a minute until that Baron actually, until Dragon comes up once again. YoungBuck actually trying to stop Mimer from going down to that one, at least damaging him enough that they don't have a big tank at the front line of that one. That's a good job from YoungBuck, the rest of the team making sure that Supa Hot Crew didn't start it off.
Yeah, and if Copenhagen Wolves can keep poking away with the Ezreal, with the 6 onto Supa Hot Crew, and maybe get someone like Impaler low, they can actually force Supa Hot Crew to back off from this Dragon, and they can get it for free. However, Supa Hot Crew is doing a good job avoiding the poke so far.
So, Dragon started here by Amazing. Does, wow, that was the Tibbers coming down, but onto Unlimited, and there was no one there to follow it up. Impaler's decoy actually took most of the damage from that one, and they actually turn around, going on towards Moopz'. Ultimate won't save him. cowTard picks up that one. Can they finish off Mimer? He's going to ult straight over the top of the wall, and in the end, the Dragon was backed away from by the Wolves, but they pick up the kill onto Moopz, which lowers their steal potential considerably, and they finish it off as they go back in. Great move from the Wolves, 4,000 gold lead.
A very messy engage from Supa Hot Crew right here. Basically, migxa went in with the Tibbers, nobody followed up. Impaler tried to come in for the fight, but he got poked and he had to back out, and instead they catch on to Moopz with YoungBuck going for him, and they pick up an easy kill and the Dragon. Supa Hot Crew, they need to be more decisive when they're going in. Everyone has to kind of collapse at the same time, especially Tibbers and Wukong ultimate.
I just saw actually Amazing putting a ward down, which was then cleared off, so a pink ward, they know that's there, and Amazing, as you can see, is hanging around thinking, okay, do I want to go in for that one? Although the red buff should be coming up here quite shortly, the last 2 were both stolen away by Amazing.
And basically what Impaler did, every time red was off and he knew Amazing was going to try and steal it, he went bot lane and set something up because he knew Amazing wouldn't be there. So he kind of traded the red buff for gank. It's a risky one, because if you don't get the gank, a successful gank in the bot lane, you kind of just give up your red buff for free. But oh, migxa coming in.
migxa coming in there, but he takes a lot of damage. That's a good Rocky coming back. Ulti comes out from Zig. migxa not quite finished up, but they turn around onto Moopz. Can they finish him? Flash from Amazing. He gets the kill onto migxa. MrRalleZ will blast back though, and does get the kill. He flashes away. Meanwhile, YoungBuck went low. cowTard now getting a lot of pressure. Mimer's going to try and chase him down. Don't know if they got the damage there, but Unlimited's going to be chasing. Impaler slams down, and that will be 2 for 1 here in favor of the Supa Hot Crew.
And Supa Hot Crew, they punished Copenhagen Wolves for only being 4 people in this area. Forgiven was far away, then they spotted him and they went in for the fight. A bit of a weird engage by migxa. He didn't even get his Tibbers down, but he did manage to start the fight at least, and the rest of Supa Hot Crew come in and pick up 2 kills.
But still messy, we have to say, from this one. The Wolves, they've done a decent fight down by Dragon before. They kind of messed this one up, maybe overestimated their power at this stage of the game. And that red buff in the end will end up going over towards the Supa Hot Crew once again. MrRalleZ, in the meantime, he spent a lot of time back down on this bottom lane farming. Is still behind that of Forgiven, but you know, if he's a little bit behind in farm but in the team fights at the right time, then he'll probably take that trade any day of the week.
And he got the free kill, so he should actually be ahead in gold compared to Forgiven, which means even though he's slightly behind, he can sacrifice that farm and be with the team, as we saw before. The Forgiven was standing bot lane, trying to farm up, and the rest of the Copenhagen Wolves kind of went in a little bit too aggressive on the red bot.
There's the blue barrel down by Moopz. So, 20-minute mark about to hit the clock. We're tied on the kills. 3-1 in turrets, though, for the Copenhagen Wolves. And that's a little bit worrying for Supa Hot Crew. You mentioned it before, that cowTard's only getting stronger. It means it's hard for them to actually push in and take towers of their own.
It is, definitely. And that's kind of the issue for both teams. Both have great wave clear and not that much siege potential. So it's very hard for both teams to do anything on the map unless they get a kill somewhere. So either we have to wait for the next dragon, or one of these teams are going to say, you know what, we're going to go now into the enemy jungle and try and set something up.
Well, we see anything around Baron. The first ward's starting to be placed around the backside of the pit and in the pit itself. So now, the buff's coming up. cowTard will be happy to take away his blue. We can see the Unlimited here picking himself up the Chalice. Also got his GP10 rolling a little bit earlier than that of migxa as well.
Definitely, and he wants to complete the Talisman, so he has both Talisman and his own speed up. That's a lot of, both disengage but also engage potential for Copenhagen Wolves. And he's going to help someone like YoungBuck to actually get in there, because he's the only hard engage they have on this lineup is YoungBuck dashing in, stunning a target, or landing a cocoon on Amazing. They don't have like the Wukong stealthing in or the flash tippers from Annie to set up a fight.
Yep, rely a lot more on coordination and skill shots, that's for sure. Not that, flash tippers is the easiest thing to land in the world. We've seen our fair share of those being whiffed somewhat. But migxa, he's just going to be recalling back in the middle lane. cowTard just keeping that wave pushed up beyond the halfway mark. And they'll be all happy with that one. Speaking of the supports there as well, Mikhail's Crucible actually finished off by Unlimited. That could be vital when we're talking about the the fact that Tibbers can come down and stun out Forgiven or cowTard in the middle of a fight. He can remove that.
Exactly. This is purely to stop their stun on someone from Annie. If Annie managed to hit, let's say, 6 or Forgiven, he can throw down the Mikhails and therefore cleanse them so they can get out of the range of Wukong when he comes in with the Cyclone. It's actually a smart pickup, even though there's only one thing he can really use it on.
Oh, both teams seem reluctant here to really challenge for things, and maybe a case of waiting until that next dragon comes up. That's in just over a minute's time from now.
Yeah, and Supa Hot Crew, they were also waiting for Mimer to finish his Blade of the Rune King, which he has now. He's going to return to this top lane, and now he really want to try and duel with Renekton. You really want to try and shove him out of the lane and force him to go elsewhere, maybe towards the dragon, and they can trade it for a tower. If they don't feel confident in fighting, they are behind, and Copenhagen Wolves have a very good combo at this point, and they have a lot of poke to set up before the fight. So if Copenhagen Wolves now can move down and get full vision control, it's going to be hard for Supa Hot Crew to do anything.
Well, it's pushing out this bottom wave as well here. In that mid lane. Now, you can tell that these two teams want this win. Or I'd say at this point in the season, considering how both teams have been playing and they're tied in the table, you need this kind of win. This is the kind of win that separates you come the end of the year.
Yeah, of course, and this is against another team who just joined the league, so you really want to make sure that you're not one of them who's dropping out or dropping down to relegation at least. So these matches are very, very important. You notice right here, Renekton already moved down towards the dragon. Mimer, he's staying top. He want to just try and get this turret down, and then they can give over or try and steal the dragon with Gragas, or just give it simply to Copenhagen Wolves and say, you know what, we're fine with this, we don't want to see fight you at the moment.
Well, the Wolves have started that one off, but he's got less than half HP, which is basically no HP when you've got an Elise there with Smite as well. Mimer will take down this turret. He's going to have to tank up a couple of hits of it, but that really won't make much of a dent onto him. So that was the trade that happened. Dragon for the Wolves, top turret for Mimer and the Supa Hot Crew. And
this kind of shows the different combos. You have the split pushing Shyvana, and you have the team fighting Renekton. He didn't want to stay up top because he thought there were going to be a fight, but Supa Hot Crew again, they simply said, we are not in a position to fight, we're not strong enough, we need some key items on our members. Impaler, for instance, he has to get a lot more tanky before he can really jump in there, put down his ultimate without dying instantly.
Actually, red buff given over on towards Mimer, which actually makes a lot of sense for him now that he's in that top lane, that he's got his Blade of the Ruin King. That gives him the chance to not only duel there with YoungBuck, but have the chance to keep him slowed enough to kill him.
Yeah, and the fact that YoungBuck has gone for full tank, there's no Hydra or anything, means that he won't be able to touch Mimer. He has no damage on him at this point due to both the ultimate of Mimer, but also the Sunfire. So he's more or less giving up the lane at the moment, and due to Mimer also having the red buff, we instantly see him shoving all the way down.
Another couple of big items coming in there as well. Actually, the Aegis finished off here for Amazing. We've seen a variety of builds when it comes to Elise, from very defensive, tanky Elise builds right the way to the full AP, super insane damage builds on Elise. What do you think to the Aegis in this stage?
Well, once he gets the locket with it, it's fairly good versus the engage from Annie and also the Cyclone from Wukong, because you have all this AoE damage. If you can stop some of the hard engage from Supa Hot Crew and make sure your members survive, so you can start disengaging and kiting around with the Karma, with Ezreal, and also, the bombs from 6, it makes sense, and it can be pretty strong in teamfights if you can manage to get it down on multiple people when the engage start from Supa Hot Crew.
Spirit Visage was just finished off, by the way, for YoungBuck's Renekton on that top side of the map. But both teams, again, we thought maybe around Dragon might be an explosive moment. In the end, it was just a trade-off turret for Dragon. And again, they've come back to that kind of tug-of-war game almost. In all 3 lanes, one guy just pushes it out, the next guy from the other team just pushes it straight back, not wanting to risk anything at this stage of the game.
No, and both teams seems happy just farming away and going towards the really late game scenario. Again, Shyvana, she's going to keep being stronger and stronger. Gragas, he has a good late game, he has a lot of burst potential. You have Lucian versus Ezreal, both AD carries. I would say Lucian has the edge late game, but Ezreal is definitely still very good. He can deal a lot of damage and he's very hard to catch. And then support-wise, you have the more disengaged, focused Karma versus the hard engage on Annie. So all in all, both teams just seem happy farming away and nobody really want to take any risk.
No risks at all being made by either team, really. See that throughout these last, well, I'd say 10 minutes by now. There's certainly been this tug-of-war in action. They're taking everything that they possibly can from the jungles. MrRalleZ has basically done circles around the river and that tri-bush there as he pushes waves in, goes back, clears out whatever wards may have been put down there, and does exactly the same over and over again. A couple of more items actually coming out now, so another Giant's Belt actually picked up for YoungBuck. We can see between the 2 AD carries, both of them gone Bloodthirster. A Last Whisper actually picked up from MrRalleZ. Compare that over to a Trinity Force and what is going to be a Last Whisper here for Forgiven afterwards.
Yeah, Forgiven is going to be very close to his Last Whisper. He most likely want to complete it before Copenhagen Wolves set up anything. The fact though that YoungBuck is going this full tank style also means that Amazing have been able to go for more Magic Pen. So he has a bit more damage to deal with because they have this Renekton in the front line taking all the damage. Supa Hot Crew, they pretty much forcing Impaler to build damage because Mimer, you can't hard engage on Shyvana. You can come in from the side maybe and then start tanking away, but they need Impaler to be able to go in, pop his ultimate and stay in there to do the damage.
MrRalleZ pushed very aggressive up on this bottom side of the map though, once again forcing that wave through. And the supports, if you look at them, probably a key item as well we have to look at is the Talisman compared to Nomad's Medallion there, which means that not only do they have Karma who gives your entire team a speed boost anyway, but with the Talisman in there as well, Supa Hot Crew need to be a little bit careful not to get caught as a team too far up a lane.
Yeah, and again, this is why the Locket works for Copenhagen Wolves, because they can lock it and shield from Karma, and therefore survive the engage and then start kiting away or chasing Supa Hot Crew with all the move speed that Karma now brings. And 6, wave clearing. As always, Mimer, he's staying in this, he just want to push, and the rest of Supa Hot Crew, except for MrRalleZ, are just going to wave clear in the mid lane.
Hey, very much farm-heavy game, I think we can safely say, at this point of things. Waiting for that next bit of action to come in, which may not be too far away. If we look at the top left there, Dragon is coming up in 1 minute's time. At least one team's going to fight for this one, Deficio.
Well, at least we can hope so.
We can hope so, yeah.
Mimer, I'm not sure if he's going to stay here in the top lane, or he's just going to shove it out and then rotate to Dragon, and Supa Hot Crew actually feel confident in fighting now. Otherwise, Copenhagen Wolves will just take it up for free once again. We've seen how fast they take it with release. They're actually setting up for Baron here.
Oh, they're actually going to go in, but that's the decoy, guys. And, well, they killed Impaler, but it wasn't the right Impaler. That's the key point of that one. They aggro Baron as they were going as well. Took a couple of hits from that one. And the whole time, MrRalleZ pushing down this bottom lane. Going to be doing some good damage onto that turret as well. They've got to send someone in there, otherwise they're going to lose it. The option is go for Baron and force MrRalleZ to back away.
Copenhagen Wolves want something to happen. They want a team fight. They feel confident they have the stronger one. Supa Hot Crew, they are having 4 people there and they have a lot of poke with the Gragas. Might even be able to steal the Baron. And meanwhile, MrRalleZ is just pushing.
Wow, they're being very aggressive here, Supa Hot Crew. There's a cocoon landing on towards migxa. The barrel going to force them away, but cowTard gets the 1 kill. Impaler's decoy was taken away and he flashed over the backside of things. YoungBuck now trying to chase down Moopz. This entire time, though, this is backfiring possibly on the Wolves. Yes, they got a kill. It's the support, but look at that. They're losing an inhibitor turret. They finally sent Ziggs back, and that was so calmly played by the Supa Hot Crew.
Yeah, migxa, he goes in, he sacrifices himself to stop Copenhagen Wolves from doing the Baron. The entire Copenhagen Wolves team, they move away from it and go and kill him. And thereon, they just try and chase around Supa Hot Crew. Meanwhile, MrRalleZ is just pushing the bot lane. They do get the Dragon, however, which giving quite a lot of gold at this point. So they'll be fairly happy, but losing it wasn't good. We might see a fight.
Oh, this is an interesting one because Impaler's there as well. Oh my my god, the damage coming down. 2 kills. Forgiven's got no mana. He's got his barrier, but that's not going to save him. He got 1 kill to give him some credit there, but they get caught out. That's 3 for 1. Even though they got the Dragon, they're not the trade that the Wolves were looking for.
Definitely not. Copenhagen Wolves felt safe in taking this one, so they moved down there, even with only 3 members. Supa Hot Crew, though, they came down from behind and they just instantly punished it. Got in there, got the damage they needed, took 3 kills, and now they can push this mid turret.
Let's see if they can, though. cowTard is going to be spamming his abilities out. YoungBuck is there as well, and he is ridiculously tanky at this point in the game. He can stick to you. Mimer actually starting to back away. He's just going to go back to his top lane pushing game. The rest of the Supa Hot Crew do decide to back off from that one as well. So still a very tense game here.
But this is the decision making from Copenhagen Wolves we've touched on in the pre-game. How once they get to this mid-late game scenario, they make some risky moves, and they make some moves that often end up costing them. This time around, going for the Dragon with only 3 members. The rest of the team weren't there, meant that Supa Hot Crew could come down and take more or less free kills just for free. Except, okay, MrRalleZ died for it, but I think it's a trade they'll take any day.
They're just going to go up there and clear out that Baron pit once again. I just see 1 single ward at the backside, but Supa Hot Crew still got decent vision around completely. And I like this pink ward there on the brush as well. It allows them to see, okay, any trap wards, as we saw before. Impaler's decoy actually was that got caught out, but that stops them sitting in Baron pit, putting a ward over and waiting for Supa Hot Crew to come in and then pouncing.
Exactly. It also means that if Copenhagen Wolves starts it, Moopz can stand on that ping ward and feel safe that he's not going to get either, killed or stunned up when he's about to try and steal it, if it's that way they're going. MrRalleZ, he's just returning to the bot lane, and Mimer's just returning to the top lane. Supa Hot Crew just want to get them farming all the time and just keep Moopz to wave clear the mid lane.
It's interesting if you look at the CS totals here between those AD carries, because MrRalleZ has had so many waves down in that bottom lane. He's sat at 285 to the 303 though of Forgiven, who's doing a great job. If we look at the gold, there's only about 100 between them at this point in the game. The kills evening that up. But look at this, the Wolves going straight in for the turret. Supa Hot Crew can't do anything this time, but MrRalleZ is going to be pushing the inhib now. Yeah,
they need someone to recall very, very fast to go on and stop him or try and close on him. He's going to take this one, and he might die for it, but he doesn't care, because getting an inhib is so big at this point.
Well, I don't even know if he's going to die for it, to be honest there. He isn't. They take that inhibitor, and Supa Hot Crew doing a great job of not allowing the Copenhagen Wolves to back away and recall. cowTard did manage to recall, but it's just too late.
Yeah, but all in all, going for the mid turret for Copenhagen Wolves was an okay move if it wasn't for MrRalleZ in the bot lane. They didn't send Forgiven down to try and stop him, or the 6 down to try and stop him. So all in all, they trade turret for inhib, and they can be happy with this. Everything for Copenhagen Wolves is not going as planned the last 5 minutes.
See that, another red buff stolen away by the Copenhagen Wolves. Give them credit, that's something they've done really well this game, is control the red on both sides of the map. Finally, someone's going to go down from Wolves' side of things to clear out that bottom lane. Actually, 2 of them are going to go there this time, so that's even a little bit of overkill, which again, could end up costing you if they get spotted.
It is. I mean, they could have, if Supa Hot Crew were in a position to go for or force a Baron fight, but they're not. They're still, just more or less farming up everywhere. I will actually be more or less, I will expect to see Supa Hot Crew now trying to set something up. They have the bot lane pushing with the super wave. They can go and get vision control of this Baron area and then force Copenhagen Wolves into a bad fight. If they just keep farming and keep split pushing with Mimer, we are in for a very, very long game.
And they've also got a couple of good defensive items in here. We see the Banshee's Veil for Impaler. We see the Zhonya's as well for Moopz. So they can afford to be that little bit more aggressive and have that protection in there behind them. We're going to see a Banshee's coming out for MrRalleZ as well, which will certainly help out. It can stop the cocoon hitting. You can stop a stun coming out. A big blast from cowTard's ultimate. A lot of different options there that Banshee's good against.
Yeah, the Banshee more or less will remove any kind of engage Copenhagen Wolves actually have, unless they can break it, and then, yeah, YoungBuck going in, dashing in, trying to land a stun. And it's actually a big issue for Copenhagen Wolves, because due to them having no hard engage, they couldn't just shove up one of the waves and then dive a turret or set something up. They've been forced to kind of follow Supa Hot Crew around on the map, and it's ended up costing them, and now Supa Hot Crew is actually starting the Baron.
Starting the Baron. They've got Shyvana in the top lane there. Mimer sat by. That's a good barrel coming out from Moopz, and they're going to instigate in this one. They go on towards cowTard, and he gets blown to pieces. Moopz here is going to get that kill, and they also chase them out with MrRalleZ getting another. Moopz picks up his second in that fight. That's a 3 for nothing. And look at those green health bars for the Supa Hot Crew. They didn't take any damage there.
Just as we talked about, Supa Hot Crew could move down, get vision control of this area, and then start the Baron. Copenhagen Wolves had to kind of run in without being 5, and it ended up just going completely wrong for them. Impaler went on to cowTard and managed to lock him up and then to kill him and just chase the rest out.
I'd say that YoungBuck's in trouble here. He actually might be by the end of it, but he's just so ridiculously tanky. The rest of the team coming across, and they're going to try and take a turret away. We're actually tied 4-4 on turrets, which kind of paints a misleading picture because the inner turret's still up in the middle and the top lane, and even the outer turret here in that middle lane. It's all because of that push from earlier on in the bottom lane from MrRalleZ that they actually got those 4 turrets. They're going to start coming in for them, and that gives them not just the Baron and the kills there that gives them the gold, but these turrets that they're going to push down. Actually going aggressive here on towards YoungBuck. That's a lot of damage coming out. There's going to be a bit of damage right back at them, and Moopz has to use that Zhonya's. Don't think he's going to be able to escape. No, shut down in the end from Forgiven.
And that was very aggressive move by Supa Hot Crew. They actually already got the turret in the top lane with Mimer, so they didn't have to go for more. They could have backed out. They felt confident they could pick up a kill. In the end, it backfired. They gave away, you know, the kill on Gragas. But they're actually going in.
Oh, Impaler going to get right in the middle of them. Tibbers comes down as well. That's so much damage. Amazing. Going to repel from that one. YoungBuck's a crocodile. He can't jump up in the air like that, though. He falls. Unlimited's going to get chased down by MrRalleZ, and that's more kills coming the way of the Supa Hot Crew, and they're not done just yet. Mimer chasing Forgiven. There's no turret behind him. That inhibitor turret and the inhibitor itself was taken down earlier on, and Mimer pushes through here. There's only 2 men alive here for the Copenhagen Wolves. This could actually be really dangerous.
They can maybe even try and get a Nexus turret. There's only 1 left, and they have the mini wave coming with them down bot.
cowTard just getting absolutely demolished there. Nexus turret's gone down. They can actually win the game right here. There's 20 seconds until the next guys actually start to spawn in. cowTard takes another big hit. He's trying to get some health back. There is a true shot. Mirage picks up a kill, but they're already focusing the Nexus. The culling comes down. Less than half HP left, and there is the finisher. The Supa Hot Crew take out the Copenhagen Wolves. A very, very tense game. Neither team wanting to risk anything, but in the end, the Supa Hot Crew getting the edge, finishing the game.
Yeah, in the end, due to the fact that nobody wanted to risk anything, they got the farm they needed on Supa Hot Crew, even though they were behind early, and they got to the items they needed to actually start really winning these fights. And all in all, though, they more or less outplayed Copenhagen Wolves on the map. Every time they split push somewhere, Copenhagen Wolves didn't have an answer, and just ended up first losing the inhib, and later on they lost the Baron and more kills on it. And yeah, the decision making for Copenhagen Wolves, it is not there. The shot calling is not correct once you get to this mid-late game scenario, because they always end up giving something to the enemy team.
And you can see that, well, the look on their faces just screams demoralized right now. I mean, you get into a position where you're looking pretty decent, where a few things are going right for you. Yes, a couple of messy team fights here and there, but you've got a decent grasp on the game. In the end, that doesn't actually work out for you. And Supa Hot Crew, you have to give them every credit, because their decision-making right there at the end won them the game very quickly.
They did, and just by the fact they went for this Baron when they actually had the inhib down in bot lane, so they knew someone from Copenhagen Wolves had to defend it. They just instantly went in, got full vision of the area, and then they forced Copenhagen Wolves into a terrible fight, and they took the kills needed. From there on, Copenhagen Wolves actually had more or less a small comeback, where we had them diving down the mid turret. But then again, 6 went back to defend, and the rest of Copenhagen Wolves, they pushed out 4 people, and then Supa Hot Crew just turned and killed them. So yeah, as you're saying, the shot calling for, or the decisions for Supa Hot Crew were just on another level compared to Copenhagen Wolves, so they punished them every single time something happened.